Let's talk to Helen Whately, Shadow Secretary of State for Work and Pensions. Helen, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, this digital ID story seems to be absolutely full of holes. I don't believe it for 5 minutes or even for 10 minutes. I don't know whether it's just a kind of a dead cat scenario to try and take us all away from thinking about how useless this government is on immigration and how hopeless the mired in scandal they are with Morgan McSweeney and the Labour Together scenario.
Well, exactly that. I mean, it's been rushed out by Keir Starmer. It's been rushed out as a smokescreen to distract people from all his failures and problems, from his total failure to stop the small boats and control immigration, from the disastrous things that he's doing to our economy and the terrible state of that, his scandals from Angela Rayner, Peter Mandelson, now the Morgan McSweeney stuff, including Keir Starmer's own donations and support that he received from Labour Together, what's going on there. And then this leadership challenge that he's got from Andy Burnham, despite his large majority. He's got all those things going on, so he's clearly rushed this out to try and get us talking about something else.
Yeah, I mean, and what is Tory party policy on ID cards? Because I see Kerry Badenoch saying that this is clearly not going to improve the situation with illegal boat crossings. It's certainly not going to stop illegal migrants that are coming into the country. But she says it has some merit. I mean, are the Tories in favour of ID cards or not?
Look, we don't support a policy of mandatory ID for people. We wouldn't want to see the kind of society where you might get stopped in the street and ask for your ID, and government having some huge database everybody on in that way. We don't want to see those kind of infringements to people's freedoms, so we don't support that. Also, don't think that this is going to help at all with the problem of illegal working and illegal immigration. As you were covering earlier, the fact is at the moment an employer already has to ask for your ID and you have to have a national insurance number. So the problem with people working illegally is they're not being asked for ID, not showing ID, and often being paid in cash. This plan for digital ID won't solve that, won't make any difference to that. Actually, it'll just mean more red tape and more admin for law-abiding businesses and law-abiding workers, and just be ignored by the criminals.
Well, that's what it seems to me to be the problem, because at the end of the day, surely those people who do employ people legally already ask them for their national insurance number, already ask them, if necessary, for proof of the right to work with a British passport or something else. And they're not the problem, are they? The problem are the people who don't adhere to the law and who won't adhere to any law.
Exactly that. The problem is people who aren't even requesting ID and often paying less than the minimum wage and employing people illegally and knowingly doing that. And that's why this clearly isn't an answer to illegal immigration. And that's why it's so bizarre, but you can see why, that Keir Starmer's rushed this out and is trying to pretend that it's an answer. He's trying to look like he's doing something about immigration after his stopping the boats, his smashing the GANs policy has failed. So he's trying to look like he's doing something about this, and he's also trying to distract. And actually, I mean, this could backfire on him, because the fact is the BritCard, as it's been called, was proposed by this organisation Labour Together, which is exactly the one that Morgan McSweeney's all tangled up in these questions about donations and the support it gave to Keir Starmer's leadership campaign as well. So actually it just means there's even more questions to answer about that organisation Labour Together.
Well, it does seem as though Labour Together is some kind of sort of shadow form of government, doesn't it? Because it was put together solely to get Keir Starmer into the leadership of Labour Party, to get rid of Jeremy Corbyn by what doesn't look like particularly democratic means, and to then use their organisation as a kind of a policy forum for the government. Because, as you say, this whole digital ID thing seems to have come from them in June. They seem to be right at the heart of everything that Keir Starmer's doing, and it would seem to me that would include his ties with Peter Mandelson, his ties with people from the previous Blair administration, and all of that. I mean, the people, I think, should know exactly who's running the country.
Well, exactly that. I mean, parties will get ideas from all sorts of places, but it's really important to know where the money is coming that supports politicians. You know, there's a reason why we require people to declare donations, so you can see who people are receiving support to. So, for instance, with Labour, it's important to understand the relationship between Labour and the unions. There's one reason why they put in place so many laws that are pro-union, because the unions are bankrolling loads and loads of Labour MPs in the Labour Party. So you need to know where the money's coming from so you can see what's influencing policy. And Keir Starmer needs to be straight with people about that.
Yeah, I think so. One final one for you, Helen. There's a new poll out today, YouGov poll, MRP in June. Sorry, there was the last one in June has now been superseded by this one. 13,000 people looking at all of the various different constituencies up and down the country. They've got Reform winning not quite an absolute majority, but 311 seats, which certainly is enough to put Nigel Farage into Downing Street. Labour on 144, Lib Dems on 78, Conservatives all the way down at 45.
Well, the polls at the last election said that I was going to lose my seat, and here I am. So I don't always believe everything I see in the polls, but I do take seriously what we're hearing from voters, from the British public. I spend loads of time knocking on doors and speaking to people, and I know how angry people are. First and foremost, they're angry with Labour, but they're still angry with us and from some of the things that happened around the time of the pandemic, and in fact really frustrated that because they were unhappy with us, many of them voted Labour, and then look what they've got, actually much worse, this Labour administration. And I know therefore people are looking to Farage. I think, well, maybe we'll try those guys. But actually what people say to me and have these conversations is, we all know Nigel Farage is good at getting the headlines, but he doesn't have the answers. Every single policy announcement he's made so far has completely unravelled within hours, because these problems of government are hard to solve and you need to be serious about it. And that's the thing that we Conservatives are doing in opposition, is working hard on what are the right answers, whether it's on the welfare, where I'm doing lots of work, whether it's on the economy or indeed on immigration, doing the hard work on the policy so that we have the right answers to offer people at the next election. And that is something else that people say to me on the doorstep. They say to me, we know times are tough for you guys, but please hang in there. We want to be able to vote for you when the election
Do they really
comes.
say that to you?
They genuinely really say that, because particularly on the economy, is that everybody knows that the economy is more important than anything else. All our prosperity depends on that, whether you're working in the private sector or indeed the public sector and public services, which are dependent on us having a strong enough economy to be able to afford those things. So the economy is crucial. Farage on the economy, his economics are a complete fantasy. There'd be a disaster for us, while we're the ones who will be responsible and will restore confidence in the UK economy.
I mean, I'll say that the economy was better when the Tories were in, that's for sure. But also, you did put up the highest tax rates since the Second World War when you were in as well, which I think a lot of people were very upset about.
Well, I mean, what happened under us is clearly we took over a financial disaster from Blair and Brown, David Cameron, George Osborne. They worked hard as leaders to bring, to get the economy back in shape, to bring the deficit right down, to get the finances in a much better position. And the country was in a much better financial position when we had the pandemic. And I know that feels to many people like it was a long time ago now, but the fact is it was hugely expensive. We had to spend lots to just keep people's livelihoods going and keep businesses going, keep the economy going. And that means that there are consequences from that, which mean that we live in difficult times. You actually really need a government that can make the tough decisions on public spending, like getting the benefits bill under control.
Yeah.
Reform
But the benefits went out of control under you guys. But benefits were out of control under the Tories as well, Helen. That's the problem. But thank you. Got to leave it there. Helen Whately, Shadow Secretary of State for Work and Pensions. Better get her off College Green before the vultures start swooping. You can hear them there in the background.